fly through some charts, and any charts that you want to take a look at, go ahead and put them in. I see you've been discussing my life. That's fine. Flash has a scotch, that's good. Okay, so the first one I want to look at is JKS. I took a pre-market trade on this 1865, and I'm a little concerned. So let's take a look at the weekly really quick. I'll just reiterate, if you haven't, if you're new to the group and you haven't looked over the midday chart reviews that are posted to YouTube, please do that so that you're in the program, because there's building blocks there. The truth of it is, I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to do that this Christmas, and I'm using the midday chart reviews as my format for the book, just on trading setups, right? Basic trading setups. Right now we're working with moving averages and Fibonacci retracements. And so anyway, weekly JKS 20 is about to breach the 50-day. 20 is the light blue. 50-day is the purple. And it's got resistance above at the 100 at 1987. It hit 1930 today. 1973, yeah. That's not the best entry. But earnings, 4 days. So I thought maybe the 20 would get through the 50, knock the price up through the 100, get out a day before earnings. That was the short swing thesis. So it's a short swing time frame. On the daily, how's it look? So the 100's breaching the 200, good, and the pop we got. I'll probably hold. MACD's up, squeeze momentum's green, stock RSI's up, volume's up, earning in 4 days. What could go wrong? So that's JKS. I apologize for my breathing, by the way. I have allergies like crazy today. CALA, C-A-L-A. I took a trade end of day Friday, I think at 15:55 if I remember right, on the swing trading platform. Alerted it, and trading 16.25 now. It's sure flatlined since then. But the entry was decent. So that would have been at this candle here, where all the volume is. Squeeze momentum just went green. MACD trending up. So this is on the 5-minute. This is on the on the intraday. Let's look at the daily really quick. Daily strong. All the indicators are up. Volume's up. Price is up. MACD, squeeze momentum, and stock RSI. So I'll hold that one too. Then we got PI. This is a breakout. So this is pure momentum. Stock RSI just curled back up, crossed up, volume's up. MACD is kind of peaking there, and squeeze momentum went bright green again. So this is just straight price action. So you want to be fairly cautious. 50 just went through the 100, and the subsequent pop. So that's definitely what I'm watching. I think what I'm going to do is, just to make sure, use this. Not that this really helps, but I'm going to just save it. A lot goes on in this little office of mine. I get confused easily. Okay, so that's PI. And then we had our morning momentum, PBI. It's done exactly what I thought it would do. I should have taken the snapback, but I did apologize for my yawn. I didn't take the snapback. I should have. Could have, would have. Now I'm looking for an afternoon play. S&P. Our algorithm has been nailing the extensions, the price extensions to the upside and the downside for many months now. We haven't showed anybody the algorithm other than members. We haven't unlocked any of the posts, just like gold, silver. We've kept to ourselves, and we're going to start publishing the S&P algo to the public here right away. But anyway, it's short-term resistance is up here, 239.76, and there's another one at 240.62-ish, and another one at 241.11, and that's on the algorithm. That has nothing to do with conventional charting at all. USOIL. Oh, by the way, the S&P algo has nailed some big turns before Christmas, before Trump nailed that, nailed after Trump, the most recent highs, as a matter of fact, weeks before. Still hasn't breached the cluster it identified weeks before the recent highs. Oil. Isn't that interesting? So those boys in OPEC, they gotta get their act together because they're just barely holding it up. I thought they would have done a much better job. The challenge is they know this algorithm. And of course, they want to keep price above support. The whole idea is to keep price above support long enough so the chart repairs itself and traders trade it up. I'm still bullish until the end of the week on it, but the algorithm itself says that, you know, there's a decision here, but it's been there since, frick, when did that start? Last night, eh? 6 o'clock, 6:30. Maybe the pajama traders will have to do it tonight. We'll see. But you can see it's hitting the top of that quadrant there, top of that quadrant there. A little bit of an anomaly there, but that's kind of normal when it first comes out of a trading range. Expected more than that. As far as momentum's on the day, real quick. I'm thinking it's a sell the news, right? So I'm thinking my general thesis, and I mean this is just trader talk. I've learned to respect the algo and take the signals it gives me. But anyway, you know, up top here we have significant resistance, that cluster, that downward trending cluster. The last time we ran into the cluster, oil came off harder than it did in the last number of years. It just tanked, and viciously and fast and lots. Anyway, that cluster is back up here. It's a slow downtrending cluster. So I thought they would get it up right underneath the cluster here and then basically sell the news. Their whole objective is to get it up and over the cluster, but the cluster is big. Like it's a massive cluster. You can see it on conventional chart. I'll just show you really quick for the people that haven't seen it. Just so I don't have to give away every detail of the algorithm. Is Coleman in the room right now? Because Coleman was saying he was having a hard time opening the charts, and then I asked other people, and they said they were opening them fine. Where is that conventional chart? I know. Hey Coleman, are you still having a hard time with that one link? Oil, US oil. Interesting. Well, yeah, but we want, like a lot of the traders, that's really interesting. I'm gonna have to, we're gonna do a little more work on it tonight. One of the challenges is that we want to be able to use TradingView because, you know, we don't, it's a long story, but it makes it less work for us. But we're struggling with their platform, the security of it. Okay. So we have, I guess the most recent one is this one here. I thought there was one more recent, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. This will show you the cluster. Sorry there, Trader Girl, if I missed something. I miss a lot of what you guys say in there. I apologize. I'm looking at 5 monitors all day and answering DMs and stuff. So here's a conventional chart, and a conventional chart does show in a simplified manner the cluster that is above. So this is a resistance line. Each one of these are a resistance line. It just happens to be from an algorithmic modeling perspective. In other words, a math perspective, that this cluster is the most significant. I think it's 16 years. 16 years that oil's had to get through. So of course OPEC knows where this is. So their whole objective is to get it up and over the cluster, or in a conventional chart, the resistance levels, and have it sit up here on USOIL WTI around 60 bucks as long as possible so that the chart repairs. And if they can do that, they've accomplished the goal, because Wall Street will just trade it up, but it's got to get through there. So that's where oil's at. I'll move along here. Then we have a bit of a watch list. So JKS we just talked about, CALA we just talked about, LITE, let's take a quick peek. That PBYI, I was lucky, I was in trouble there, a couple bucks. I was kicking myself for holding, and then it turned. What was I looking at? Oh, LITS. LITE. That's the tough thing about EIA. I don't typically hold through it. I'll trade around it. Very tough. Look at that chart. Wow. What a great chart. Fantastic. So it's post earnings now. Squeeze momentum's trending up, MACD's trending up, stock RSI is starting to curl up again, and it's breaking out. So this is a straight price action chart. Up 6.5%, 6 1/3. Beautiful chart. The problem with breakouts, like of course, you know, the time to get in this would have been when it tested the 200 or when the crossover of the MAs happened, but not easy in this one. Just straight price action. If you're thinking about a long in it, you take a long and hope for the best because you don't really have the setup anymore. Juno. Yeah, I agree with that OPEC comment. It's big. It's big, big, big. It doesn't go well for them though, typically. Well, typically for price action, for bulls, the Vienna meetings, from my recollection. Okay, Juno. So the setup that's developing here is the 200 is swooping down. So that's the setup that we're working on, where the 200 comes down. And we want, so let's get rid of these EMAs here. Whoops. For the people in the room that don't know, those two EMAs I use on day trading, 8 EMA and 21 EMA. But for wider work like this, I get rid of them. So the objective is for price to be over the 200 and then the 20 to come through the upside of the 200 to breach it, but price has got to be above. And it just hasn't got there yet. Let's Juno quick. PCRX. PCRX. Yeah, oil, I thought for sure. It sounds like some of the geopolitical players messed up this morning. They probably would have got a good pop on oil. So this is the setup, right? The 200 comes down. This is the current setup we've been working on. Get rid of those EMAs. So the 200 comes down, the 20 breaches it, up it goes. 50 breaches it, up it goes. 100 breaches it. Didn't go right away, but it did go. Now we have a squeeze momentum that's trending down, MACD that's pinching, stock RSI that's getting near the bottom. Not sure what to say. It's probably going to come down and test that 200 yet. They're probably going to converge, is my guess. Then the other one we've got is CTSH. Now we don't even have to bring up the chart because I did some bragging on my feed in the middle of the night. I was doing my homework. There it is. CTSH, swing trade going well, trading 65.42 from 61.78 entry. 20 MA may breach 100 on weekly, may add. Oh, I should look at this quick. CTSH. It's hard to tell folks that you're winning without bragging. It's not easy. I used to be like, kaboom, but it didn't go over well. Okay. What was I saying there? The 20, oh, the weekly I was looking at. So there it is, the 20 through the 100. Wow, am I ever tempted to take a trade right now? To add to that. What happened the last time the 20 went through the 100? 20 through the 100. Give me the 20 through the 100. That's not the same scenario. 20 went through the 100 here and did well, but it was under the 200 at the time. This is a totally different scenario. Wow, powerful, powerful move. That's tempting. FEYE, Tesla, NVO, EWZ, AMBA, EOG, Cody, FSLR, JSO, and VIPS. So, really curious about EWZ real quick to see how it's doing. It's off 3.5%. I had this one on the watch list last week thinking, well, maybe it would bounce, but nope, no such luck. Well, I guess it did bounce from when I was looking at it, but it's still ugly. Okay, I got 3 minutes left on my time, and then I'll look up some of the charts you want me to look up here. You can always go on this list on your own, of course. AAOI. So AAOI up 10% today. Holy cannoli. It's huge. So the setup here is kind of the opposite, but the same as the setup that I've been talking about. It's just that we didn't get the swoop down of the, well, let's see how the weekly is here. Interesting chart. Anyway, yeah, so you didn't really have the swoop down, I don't think, but that's really neither here nor there. The setup was price got above the 200, and then the 20 came through, and then the 50 came through, and then the 100 came through, and that's the setup. So now all the MAs are on the right side, so the 20, 50, 100, and 200, and kaboom. Now this isn't really the best stock to do it with, but then then you get then you can do your extensions. The problem is that's not an easy stock to do it with, so I'll try and do it with one of the ones that you guys tell me to take a look at. Oh, the S&P's Getting really near that resistance. Now, just to be clear, that resistance on the S&P isn't like absolute. It's a moderate time cycle resistance. If those guys hadn't screwed things up geopolitically this morning, I would have been in oil whenever it tested support, but man, those guys are tough. Okay, any of you guys want me to look at? I know that who had stocks they wanted to look at? Come on. Really? Nobody? Kathy? I'll give you guys a minute or two to just get it together here. There was people earlier today asking me to look at stocks. Come on, let's do this. Time's a ticking. Leanne, Tracy, Kara. Okay, let's look at Kara quick. We have a Kara in the room. Kara. Let's see what we got. A lot of the charts are getting more and more difficult, by the way, the longer in the tooth this market gets this year. I remember in December when we were putting together the watch list for the swing trading, and it was like almost every chart lined up. So Kara, so when you go and you do your homework, and I'm told that I'm tough, so I'm trying to by a number of people lately, so I'm trying to be trying to lighten up on this a little bit and not stalk people that don't do their homework or give them shit when they give me junk homework. But anyway, the setup that you want is you want the 200 to come down like that, right? And you want, as long as price gets over the 200, that's the main objective. It doesn't necessarily have to come down like that, but preferably, because you can see the pop, right? So had we been in at the right time, which would be in here at $7, we'd be doubled up by now, and that's the setup. So the 200 comes down, the 220 gets above, price pops, it comes back. This is what we call in the bowl, the test in the bowl. Comes out of the bowl, pops, comes back down, and goes again. And this is the second bowl, and it popped out of the bowl, and now it's working on its final legs of the move. But you want it in here. So this is what you want to find. So when I'm saying, when a trader, see, what happens with a lot of plays, oh, should I pick on him? I'm going to pick on him. I'm just not going to say his name. I'm going to go to his feed right now, and I'm going to tell you what he's looking at today, because I got to give you the example. I don't have a choice. I just won't tell you whose feed it is, but he's a very popular guru. And let's see what he's telling the sheep to buy today. Now, he is on to one good one, and that's BlackBerry has been good, and I gotta admit that's been good. He's actually calmed down a lot the last couple weeks because I've been a little rough. But let's see here. Well, let's take a look at CBIO. That's one of the ones that he's pushing right now, and let's see if it lines up like a lot of them do. 9 out of 10 of them line up in a certain way. The reason why I have to do this is I have to show you how newbies get slaughtered all the time, and there's different ways that it happens, but this is one of the main ways, and it's just, I get it all the time. I get the DMs all the time. There's people in this room, including the very successful traders that are in this room when we first met, where they got slaughtered. Okay, so CBIO, so what I do is I start on the weekly. And I take a look at the weekly and I say, does this chart give me reason to see life? Okay, it doesn't, but that's okay. I mean, it doesn't mean there isn't a trade there, right? So I know in the weekly, my resistance, I got a resistance here at like 216 bucks. Now you already know what's going on there. 46 bucks, you know, so this thing has been massacred. Let's go on to the day. Now we're on the daily, and we take a look at the chart and we say to ourselves, when this actually gets lift, does it hold its gains? Well, I don't think anybody could say it does. Maybe 1, 2, 3 days. Well, you know, it's a ski slope for 3 days after. So that's a concern, right? Why would you want to hold something that does that? Then you say to yourself, does it respect the 200? Well, it certainly respects it as a resistance. Does it respect it as a support? Oh, look at that. It hasn't had opportunity to have it as support. So, fail. Completely fails. 100% right there. Junk. Absolute technically disastrous junk. Couldn't be worse. It's awful. But, you know, because my job is just to help folks. So they come back and say, but I still want to. Okay. So then I say, well, let's take a look at it. And so we have a guru telling you that this is a great buy. Now, let me try and find technically some justification in that. Well, let's get rid of VWAP because that's just confusing the issue. We have a 20-day down here that goes, let's just thicken it up really quick. I'll try and speed this process up so I don't spend too much time on it. There's our 20-day, there's our 50-day. Okay, so if I wanted to make a technical argument of bullishness, the 20 did cross the 50, look at that, yeehaw. But it's just flatlined since. That is not bullish. The price is above the 20 and the 50 with the 20 breached. But look at the stock RSI. Look at the MACD. It's like dead. The squeeze momentum is coming up a little bit. But look at this. Look even closer. See that 100-day right there? Guess what that is? That's your brick wall. Now, if I was the guru telling you that I was super excited about this stock, because of course something must be going on, and I had you buying in here at 393, and resistance is at 405, what does that make me? It'd be different if I didn't know. That would be much different, right? So if I was ignorant, but if I wasn't ignorant to it and I was pushing you into this, what's my motivation? You see the problem, right? Now, sure, it can get through the 100. Of course it can. If it gets through the 100, its next resistance is at 451. Not a bad trade. But there's a natural resistance right here at 443. Now what's going to happen is that 200 day is going to come down, price gets above the 100, and they're going to converge right there. And I can almost guarantee you, depends on the stock, because some of these stocks are so unnatural, they're so manipulated that you can't even get a proper fib on them. But I can almost guarantee you that the fib is going to tell me the same story. So we're just going to do a little technical test here. Whoops. Whoa. You're out of control. Okay, here we go. Drum roll. Oh, look at that. So your 382, and I scroll out here so you can see it, it's right here, which is your most probable price extension as far as natural math is concerned, if a stock is actually trading in natural order and not manipulated. Just happens to be at 451. You have a resistance at 443, 444 that extends back here, that is anywhere from 443 to 444 on the low end and 453 on the high end. So really that purple line could be anywhere from where it is to where that 200 MA is, to where that 382 fib extension is. And I think you see my point. There is a massive wall right there. It's not getting through there. So now, sure, it can if you have huge news or something like that, and then of course Guru says, "See, I told you, I told you." Okay, problem is, chances are 1 in 100. So if I'm being a good guru, I would say to you, this is a bottoming stock. And because I like bottom stocks, because we can move them easily, because shorts cover as soon as the bottom starts to pop. And when the shorts cover and panic, I take advantage of that, and I get a little pop into the next resistance. So in other words, I'm playing from 393 to 405, literally. Okay, I'm playing that 12 cents. And I told you I was playing that 12 cents, and I told you that there was a brick wall that you'll never get through up here at 450. And I told you that there was resistance not only at 404, 405, but also at 429, and a brick wall up there. Then I'd be playing fair. Okay, that's how it works. So in future, when you go to look at a stock, what you need to do is you need to do exactly what I just did. Now it's on those videos, it'll be on this video when it gets published, and you got to do your homework. Because when you make me do this homework, which is what I do every night, 10, 20, 30 times for folks, and I don't mind because it's my job. What you've done is you've caused me to have to do what you could have done. Now, I understand when you first start and stuff, you got to learn how this works. You can take this trade. See, once you get good at knowing this, then what you do is you use your indicators down here, your squeeze momentum. You see how it's green? Good sign. MACD, dead, bad sign. Stock RSI at the top, bad sign. Stock RSI at the bottom, that's a good sign. Oversold, overbought, right? So, I mean, oversold, overbought, opposite. But anyway, the point is you time your indicators. You make sure you know where your resistance and your support is. And you can trade your way through, but you don't want to do it with something that has 10 or 20 cents. You want to do it with something that might have 50 cents or $1, and you trade your way through the MAs. So I won't spend much more time on that. So you can watch the video on that. So that's how that works. So going back to CALA, you see, so that happened here, right? CALA bottomed way over here. Now, how do you know where to get in? Well, you see, if you do it before the 200, you have to fight the MAs. So you see, now it did pop above these MAs and it kind of was okay, but it was kind of screwy. All of that you have to fight through. If you wait for it to get above the 200 and you wait for that 20, you can be confident even if it comes off, or you can wait for it to come back and retest, because it's almost inevitably going to come back and retest. So when a 20 gets through the 200, pop. Then there's something we call the bowl. So it pops, comes back through the bowl, it retests the 200, gets up, out the other side of the bowl. You know how they talk about a cup and handle? Well, this is the other side of that bowl or cup. Kaboom. See how that happens? Then it comes back and it typically tests the 50 or the 100 this time instead of the 200. Comes through the bowl, up to the other side of the bowl, kaboom. See how it happened? Then this time, through the bowl, tests the 20, comes up out of the bowl, kaboom. Now when you get to the 20, now you're in the final cycles. See what happened to price? So it came up, out of the bowl, little boom, back down, little boom, and off. That's how it works. So do you want to get in here, or do you want to get in here? Do you want to get in here with the spaghetti mess of MAs, moving averages, right? Or do you want to get in here? You want to get in here. So I don't want to sound like a prick, but at the same time, I've got to drive it home because I'm the one that hears the stories at 2:30 in the morning. And again, it's my job and I get that, but I still gotta, I gotta do what I can to correct it, right? So, PBYI, did you say you were looking for another possible setup today? Yes, I want that stock back. So yes, I'm waiting for the bulls to run it. We're gonna look at some momentums here right away for the day. So I apologize, but that's the story on CALA. Now you might get a pop on CALA, and I'm just talking about probabilities. And I have many people say to me, Kurt, you gotta chill out a little bit. But this is real stuff, right? So I'll just say it really quick. These are real lives with real serious investments, with real serious car wrecks of personal lives that I get to experience on a daily basis, and I get to the opportunity to help people put that back together, and that causes me to be pretty damn serious about it. Okay, so I am going to take a look at, so you got to do your homework. You got to do your homework. Okay, so anybody that's in the room that says, anybody that's in the room that doesn't understand this setup, please go and dig it up, do your homework on those midday reviews. Those are the videos you want to find. Sartaj is going to post a whole bunch more that we've done recently. He'll end up posting this one. And the reason that's so important is because we have to move on to the next parts. So I don't want to leave anybody behind on it, but over the next day or two I got to move on to the next parts. I'm gonna actually write the blog pieces on what we've done so far. That's going to be the next set of blog posts I do. And really with the moving averages, we've covered the moving averages now. We've covered the moving averages and how to check the Fibonacci retracements on them, how to check the resistance levels on the MAs, and the next stage that I want to go through is how to trade through those MAs on the other side of that thinking. And so anyway, it's a totally different thinking, and that's where we catch these bottoms, but we do them, we play them right. And so I'm going to work through that next. So anyway, if anybody in the room that needs to understand it can do that, that would be great. And you will find that when you do that, that these setups are extremely predictable, and when they don't act right, you'll know to stay away from them. So you'll be like, oh, I see, that stock doesn't act like it should. Okay, then you throw it out. It's like Leanne brought me one last night of a group. I said stay away from that one specific stock because it didn't work. Sorry about the audio, guys. Okay, so I'm going to do the momos real quick here. Okay, so can you hear me right now? Testing, testing. 1, 2. Really? That bad, hey? Let's try this. How about now? Still in a windstorm? Nope, it doesn't sound good, or nope, I'm not in a windstorm. Doesn't sound good. Great. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up anyway. So yeah, we have our new computers, so it won't be long, a couple days. So I'm looking at PBYI, SORL, and Cool. I'll give you the setups by text, or yeah, I'll type them in. The other ones I'm not looking at for the afternoon. already went through them earlier. So sorry about the audio, guys. I'll get her fixed up here over the next couple days. I'll type in the setups for this afternoon.